Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lions Den with another news and commentary. I want to send a shout out to Van Williams on Facebook, who released this audio from, this is the audio, the 911 call from Amber Guyger. For those of you who don't know who Amber Guyger is, she's a former Dallas police officer that shot and killed Botham Jean in his own apartment. You're going to hear this audio, and like I say, I'm glad the reaction when I show you the video, but you will hear the audio, you will hear the news report on this story. And then once you finish this, I will continue the rest of my commentary. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to hear is very disturbing. So here's the audio of Amber Guyger making a 911 call to dispatcher after she shot and killed Botham Jean. Here it is.
September 6th, 2018, an off-duty officer shot Botham Jean in his own apartment.
This is a terrible, terrible thing that has happened.
The number one answer that I want is, what happened?
Amber Guyger charged with manslaughter, then murder.
We will make certain that justice is done in this case.
For the first time, we're hearing the 911 call moments after Guyger fired her weapon.
I'm an off-duty officer. I thought it was in my apartment, and I shot a guy thinking it was my apartment.
It has been nearly 9 months since former officer Amber Guyger killed Jean. This morning, we're playing the 911 call for you. Dallas police did not release the call. Our investigative reporter, Tanya Iser, obtained it, and we're playing it for you because we do believe it gives you context.
Yeah, we want to let you know the entire call is just over 5.5 minutes long, and in it, Guyger says 19 times that she thought she was in her own apartment. We've been getting your take on this all morning long, and after hearing that call, are you more likely or less likely to believe Guyger's version of the story? If you haven't voted already, please do so at WFAA.com/vote now or on our app with the Vote Now tile.
Yeah, but 1,800 of you have already voted, so keep those coming in. We have the entire call posted right now at WFAA.com. Here's a portion of it.
I'm an off-duty officer. I thought it was in my apartment, and I shot a guy thinking it was my apartment. He shot someone? Yes, I thought it was my apartment. Oh my God.
I'm sorry. And where are you at right now? I'm in. What do you mean? I'm inside the apartment with him. Hey, come on. What's your name? I'm Amber Guyger. I need to get me. I'm in. Okay, we have help on the way. I know, but I'm gonna lose my dog. I thought it was my apartment. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. Hang on. They're trying to get there to you, okay? I know. Oh my God. Okay, they're trying to get there to you. Do you hear them? Do you see them? No. Over here. Okay, go ahead and talk to me. No, it's me. I'm off duty. I thought they were in my apartment. I thought this was my floor.
And the call-in Sarah poll remains open. You can keep weighing in at WFAA.com/vote now. And as expected, many of you have new thoughts and questions after hearing that call for the first time. One question: did race play a part?
Yeah, the Jean family's attorney spoke with us about exactly that. In fact, Hannah Davis is joining us this morning. This conversation has been continuing this morning. Hannah, a lot of people posting on social media about this. We're getting new insight into what was happening inside that apartment right after, but it almost asks more questions than it answers.
Yeah, good morning, guys. One of the questions we're also asking this morning is,
Should the department have released these tapes? Like we said, we obtained them, then we released them, but would this have helped with an emotionally charged case that's had so much speculation? This morning we have heard from thousands of you answering that. We're also hearing from the attorneys who say they had not heard that tape, nor the family, until it aired last night. You can actually see the moment that the attorney, Darrell Washington, saw it for the first time. That 911 call, 5 minutes, 38 seconds. He spoke with our reporters, sharing his thoughts on Guyger's conduct in the moments after John was shot in his own home.
Only thing I heard her saying was, I thought I was in my apartment.
I thought it was my apartment.
That's it. Nothing else. Nothing both was charging at me. Nothing I thought he had a gun. I always hesitate to make things racial. But I think what happened was she saw an African American male. And she responded fast. She shot him.
We also want to focus on who Botham Jean was. He was 26 years old when he was killed. He moved here from St. Lucia. He led the choir at his church and was quickly rising the ranks of the professional ladder here in North Texas. The Jean family attorney said listening to that tape was incredibly difficult for the family almost a year after the shooting. But from day one, his mother has called for transparency from the department and from the city. That brings us back to our question this morning. Should the department have released those tapes? We've been hearing from so many of you, and you guys have different takes on this. Take a look at the comments we see this morning. Pierre Hawkins, we've been talking this morning, she said, playing the 911 call will not bring him back, but it will exonerate Guyger. They will say she was exhausted and she will get a pass sign. But on the other side, guys, Adrian says, really glad that you all are playing the full 911 call tonight. Everyone needs to hear it firsthand in full. Now this morning, Tanya Iser is joining us. Tanya, I know you're hearing from a lot of viewers. What do we say?
I think it's really just all over the map. I mean, it really depends on what your take was on this call.
Yeah.
If you had a hard opinion that you thought she was a murderer, I don't know that it changed your mind.
Well, so far into the process, too, because, here we are almost a year later, and I think a lot of people have developed their opinions in this case. This, of course, was not a tape that was released early on, as we see so often with 911 calls, but this is not unusual for it to take a long time for one to come out when it's a police-involved shooting.
There is truth to that, but I have also seen cases where, particularly in really controversial situations, we have had prior Dallas police chiefs who have erred on the side of releasing information. I remember about 10 years ago, there was a case where an unarmed black man was shot by a Dallas police officer. There was a lot of anger in the community, and then Chief Police David Kunkel, he released that dash cam video, and it showed that the guy was about to get the officer's gun, and it dissipated the anger. I'm not saying it would have done that in this case, because obviously the circumstances, but sometimes you have to err on the side of giving people more information and quickly.
Yeah, because in this case, there was a real groundswell from the community as well. There were a lot of protests. You were front and center out there during those protests. If you can remind people, because it has been a while, what exactly were the protesters calling for there?
Initially, they wanted her arrested, and then after she was arrested, they wanted her fired. And I remember standing the night, I was covering one of the protests on that night when they took over the freeway. And I remember looking down and thinking, this could go one of two ways. I mean, it was a very potentially volatile situation.
You met Botham Jean's mother. You attended the memorial service. Obviously, the family going through this all over again, having to listen to this audio. What was it? What was he like? If you could kind of remind us about him, because I think that does kind of get lost in this when we're focusing on this officer's actions and her call afterwards. Let's remember the man.
Absolutely. I mean, he. I remember I was at the memorial that they did at his church on that Saturday after the shooting, and he was an accountant. He sang in his church choir. I mean, they played some of his music. He sang beautifully. I mean, he was an incredible guy, and you're right. It shouldn't be lost that he was an innocent man in all this.
No matter what you believe about how this went down and what you think should happen next, when you listen to this 911 call, it does take you inside that apartment on that night, and it kind of takes your breath away listening to it. I mean, the whole studio goes silent every time we play it. and I think it has really viscerally touched a lot of people. We've been asking you this morning, we've had some interesting comments. It's going to be really interesting to see how the jury goes forward in her case here. We've seen people on social media saying she's so me. She keeps talking about herself and how she feels and how she's done and how this is going to hurt her and she's effed and this and that and the other while he is taking his last breaths. But a lot of people also feeling a lot of empathy for her because you can hear the panic in her voice there. We've been asking you all morning, are you more likely after hearing this call to believe Guyger's story or to not believe it? And it's pretty resounding here. 64% saying more likely to believe her story after hearing that call, and we've had more than 2,000 people vote. Tanya, an amazing scoop here. Thanks for sharing this with the community. All right. You can listen to the entire uncensored 911 call from Amber Guyger after she shot Botham Jean. We have that on our website at WFAA.com. This call, just another layer, of course, to an already very complex story, and we're trying to give you more context so that you can form your own thoughts about this case. Guyger's trial set for the end of September. We got more on this story, of course, happening throughout the day. Carol.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard the audio yourself. And I'm going to say it like this. There are some unanswered questions about this case. Like, for example, how in the hell did she ever even get in Botham Jean's apartment? Now, before this video came out, there's been stories that they say they found Botham Jean's marijuana inside the apartment. They found police tactical gear in that apartment. They didn't talk about that in this case. And you heard what he says that, even with the attorneys, they said, well, you won't see him, Botham Jean charging at her basically I fear for my life or anything like that. So really, all you hear was, guess what? I thought I was in my apartment. Oh, I thought I was in my apartment. I was going to lose my job. It's all about Amber Guyger, not about Botham Jean, the person that was killed. You was inside the apartment, and really, we don't really know what really happened inside the apartment. She said that she came home late and stuff like that. And she was she lives on the 3rd floor, but she ended up in the 4th floor because guess what? She was tired. And all of a sudden, she shot and killed an unarmed man. And obviously now you see the polls showing that she was more that they sympathize of her. But the reality is that we really don't know what really happened. It's a lot of unanswered questions. A lot of unanswered questions. Like they say that first they said that that marijuana was planted. Marijuana was inside the apartment. They found marijuana. They found police tactical gear inside that apartment. They found they said that the door was unlocked. We really don't understand why the door was unlocked. So many unanswered questions in this case. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it shows that at the end, they say that the Dallas Police Department did not release this video. I really doubt that, because why would you all of a sudden want to release the 911 audio to a news station? So this is some unanswered questions, ladies and gentlemen, that we don't know about. So please leave me your comments. Tell me what you think about this story. Like, click, subscribe, and remember to click the notification bell for all the news and commentary. With that being said, this is Lions Den signing off. Deuces.